Alright, part two of fender and extension coatings. Figured I'd take a moment to go over some painting tips for anybody that's watching that doesn't know this info already, or was curious of it, or just would like some info. So I've gone over my primer gun that I'm using. It's essentially a Harbor Freight knockoff of the hvlp starting line guns. It is close to spot on a clone of it. In fact, the cup that I'm using is off of my hvlp. I believe all the parts are interchangeable, and literally the design and everything is matched. So, tips. I'm trying to remember my PSI. I spray Southern polyurethane epoxy. And with that, I'm trying to remember what the best setting as far as pressure I found. I want to say it's around 25-30 PSI, but I don't recall. I can't really use what I use today because I think my epoxy was kind of getting crapped out, because it's still, I know I thoroughly cleaned this gun last night and it still wasn't a spit and sputter. And I ran it through the filter, through these little, whatever these super micron filters are, these little cones. I don't even remember what it is, but these little deals. When you're spraying epoxy, you don't want to use the little internal gun filter. You want to just use those. But anyways, when you go to spray, in case you don't know how to set up a spray gun, you have your fan control, which is here. Sometimes it's on the side here. I don't know where else it might be. Anyways, you want to set your fan control up to where you're getting roughly almost the width. Well, not quite that big probably, but about maybe 6-inch pattern, vertical pattern. You want a blade essentially. It'll be a slight conical. It's not going to be a perfect up and down. It's going to have a slight bulge in the middle. But adjusting this goes from a dot to a blade, and you want it to get as close to a blade as possible without it starting to go convex or concave. I don't know. Long time since school. Sorry. But anyways, you don't want it to bow inward. You want it to be a slight, like cat eye, right? So it's kind of like that. Anyways, I guess I could have drawn it, but whatever. Your next is your fluid control, this knob. You want this set quite a ways inward. Like, well, I'm not gonna pull my trigger for that. That's another tip I'll get to next, but I keep thinner in the gun. But anyways, you set this, and what you want to do is get I used this cardboard box, for instance. And you see that was my first sprays that were too much. You see the runs? There was my next one, and then there was my final product. Still had a little bit too much. I think I could have set my gun a little lower. Actually, no, this was my final, because I sprayed one. So there's my final. So that's what you want as far as a blade. Roughly that. You see how there's no runs, except it's a little thick where it hit the tape, but that's because it didn't soak in any. This isn't necessarily an ideal thing to use. You want to use masking paper is like the best thing to use. But what you do is you aim, get your gun back, the 6-inch, whatever, 10-inch, whatever your distance is, that from what you're spraying, and hold the trigger for 3 seconds, and then let off. If you have runs, I think it's 3 seconds. It might even be 5 seconds. I'll have to go back and review. You can probably Google to find this out. You can look up how to adjust spray guns for a better, but it's either 3 to 5 seconds. And 5 seconds will be your safer, but you'll have to put more coats on if you go too low of fluid. But you want to hold for 3 to 5 seconds, and if you're getting runs, you have too much fluid to the gun, screw it in, lessen the fluid. So that's it. Get your gun set, get your pressure set. I want to say I run 25 to 30 PSI. Another tip, you want a filter on the gun, you want a regulator on the gun so you can monitor your air pressures. I also, of course, run shop regulators. So I set my shop regulator down a little bit. I don't run it at the exact amount, and I don't keep it at my 90 PSI. I normally run tools at it, turn it down to about 50 or 60 just to monitor it some, because these little cheapy regulators want to go up whenever you're not spraying, and then as soon as you pull the trigger, it gets that blast at full PSI, and then it'll go down to the right amount. Maybe if you have a higher end regulator, it'll work better, but I don't. I use these GP Harbor Freight ones. A tip to keep this gauge from getting paint splattered where you can't read it: Saran wrap. Cover it with Saran wrap. Wrap some masking tape around it. Once it gets splattered to the point where you can't see it anymore, replace the masking tape or the Saran wrap. Simple. This is also an internal air regulator on the gun. I don't use that. I always use the gauge one. Another tip. I found this out from, I don't remember what the guy's YouTube channel is. He's a older dude, does restorations, tatted up, kind of crude guy, but he's funny to watch. And he does at home kind of, well, I mean, he has a shop, but he shows people how to do stuff at home a bunch. But anyways, he put me on to using carb cleaner to clean guns. Apparently, supposedly this will dissolve off and doesn't leave any kind of residue. I don't trust it quite enough, so after I use this, I always run acetone, then thinner. So what I'll do is I'll take all my gun apart, take this front nozzle off, take the internal needle seat, spray nozzle, take the needle out, clean it. Before I take the gun apart, I'll fill it with a little bit of acetone in the bowl, pull the trigger with no air, let it kind of flow out the paint that's there, and then I'll hook up air and spray it out so it'll spray the acetone into the air cavities. Then I'll disassemble the gun, clean this outer nozzle, clean the needle, clean the internal nozzle, reassemble, put acetone in it, spray it again, then put thinner in it, spray it a little bit, and leave a little bit of thinner in the gun. That'll prevent any kind of paint residue that's in the gun from setting up solid, and we'll keep it clean, ready to use again. Then before I spray next time, I will hook up air, spray out the thinner that's there, let a little air pass through it to dry it out, and then fill it with paint, spray. All right, now that that's done, I recoated everything, and it looks quite nice. I don't know if you can hear my dog Valkyrie's inside just barking her ass off because I had to lock her up. She snatched my fenders down the other day and did that. She had to keep her on a lead because I don't have a fenced-in yard, and she ran a loop around my fenders out there before I painted them, of course, luckily, and jerked that whole thing into me, so my whole right side is bruised up and cut up. But I sprayed this again just because you could see the Bondo or the body filler behind the epoxy, so I'll put another coat on here. Put another coat here to build this little hole up. And you can barely see it right there. Hit it with light just right, you can see it, but it filled it in pretty decently. I'll probably end up going back and body filling that to top it off, or the whenever I spray that 2K or filler primer, it might fill it up. Recoated this, same thing, body filler, you can see through. Recoated the inside, same thing, body filler you can see through. You might still see it because this was not sanded real fine. Yeah, you can see where it's rough versus where it gets smooth. Maybe. It's hard to see this on camera because it reflects. But also recoated these. They came out pretty well. Another reason why I think that my epoxy is starting to get old is because it's starting to, it's not spraying out smooth like it was before, or like it was when I did the dash. I'm getting a lot of fisheye. It's not doing everywhere real bad like it did up here. Yeah, you can see the craters in that. I mean, this is all gonna go back and be body work better. I'm gonna end up re-sanding it and using some filler in areas like this crack here and so on. But yeah, you can see the nasty crater bullshit here. And it gets smooth in areas like that. And inside of here, it's just fish-eyed up like crazy. Nice and glossy though. And of course I had shit land on it. But the joys of not having a paint booth. And it's just orange peel like crazy. That's what I meant to say, not fisheye, but orange peel, some areas it's fisheye. And you can see one of the dents right there. That wasn't there before. I'm pretty sure that's from my dog snatching the freaking fenders off this stand. So I'll have to body fill that and fix it. Yeah, these came out pretty nice. Nice and glossy. So these I'm hoping I won't really have to coat again. I'll be able to just drive on this. Just like I said, well, I think I said it in a previous video, I'm wanting to get the car together all black and get it on the road. Once I get it on the road, I can start doing body work on certain areas and reprime in black while I drive it and while I'm saving up to buy the other necessary parts for the car that I'm missing. But so I still have a few things I need to get rid of that would help along the way on buying parts I need. Now that I finally remember the guy's name, he just like ghosted out. But YouTuber was interested in getting my body cart jig set up that I had the car on, that are these pieces here and a bunch of these and these casters back here. If anyone's interested in a body cart frame jig, it's up for sale. I don't remember what I actually told him I was wanting for it. I think it was 400. I'm asking 400, throw an offer my way, it might be accepted, whatever. I need to get it posted on Facebook and Craigslist and get it sold. Rudder is interested in getting this, hopefully still later on. I mean, it's in the shop, takes up space, but it's not really in the way per se. So, whenever you're ready, buddy. Yeah, so I guess that's it for now. I'll once I get that stuff cured up, I can bolt it on the car, get my buckets put on, get my tails put on, and my video that I thought I uploaded that I made talking about the extensions, I had chatted about bonding them to the rear. That idea is gone. I forgot the trim piece that gets put on, that's like this, that goes on the extension. You have to bolt on from the back. So if I bonded them on, I would have to have this on ahead of time because I don't like the way it looks just flat here. So I'm gonna do the traditional bolt it on, body fill, cut the line, take it off, sand it smooth it out so it matches the quarter panel, and it'll be a bolt-on setup like factory did. I'm not gonna try to do the whole fiberglass on just because I don't like the way the trim it looks without the trim, and it'd be too hard to try to. I want to paint this trim or powder coat it black or like a gunmetal silver or something, but I want to have it an accent color to whenever I actually paint the car. I mean, the car's gonna be this primer black for a while, so these trim pieces will probably just be black, so the car's just all murdered out minus the wheels, I guess, because they're gunmetal and, you know, polished lip. But it'd be too hard to try to coat that trim piece, and then I'd have to tape it off when I paint everything. So too much hassle. So the next step will be I gotta strip this trunk, and I'll have to get the hood and the trunk coated, and then everything will be black. The doors still have to be done, which I'm kind of hesitant to put the fenders on because I got to take the doors off still to paint them and do any body work to them that needed. Well, I guess not really any body work, but just sand them down and get them coated with epoxy. I guess I could do it with them on the car. I don't know. But I'll probably end up pulling them to do them. I still need to order new door handles and clean up the lock mechanisms that I have that I'll be reusing probably. But yeah, I need to put the fenders on to get them out of the way and off the floor and whatever. I don't want to put them back up in the rafters, but it's gonna suck because I have to take them back off to get the doors off. So I'll probably deal with the doors before I do the hood and the trunk coating, because I kind of set the fenders on the hood and the trunk to get them out of the way. Anyways, that's it. Rambling on too much. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully next time I'll have some more paint stuff done. I do have to order some more epoxy because I used up the last bit there. All right, gents. Peace.